Hello, my friend. Welcome back to another episode of the Magic Mindfulness Podcast. I am your host, Rachel Hupp. And I don't know about you, but how on earth are we halfway through another year? It is July 2nd as I am recording this. I will be releasing it on July 4th. And holy cow, this year went by so fast. So we're halfway through another year. Something that I ask myself and something that I'll ask you to reflect upon too, if it feels aligned for you, is to ask yourself, are you halfway to where you wanted to be this year? Because today we are talking about the magic of a mid-year check-in and how this mindfulness practice can truly transform your life. So in this episode, we are going to be diving into why so many of us women feel like we are just going through the motions, right? It's like we're constantly putting out fires. We're always taking care of everybody else, but at the end of the day, there's nothing left for yourself. And we'll be touching on how this feeling of being disconnected from who we are, this disconnection from our true selves, can show up and manifest in our day to day lives, and why it can leave us feeling stuck and unfulfilled. We're also going to be talking about, like I said, the power of a mid year check in and how it can help you to reconnect with your true self, who you truly are, and help you to reignite your sense of purpose. This has been really powerful for me in my own life, and my clients love it as well. So I'm going to be sharing some practical and some easy to implement techniques and strategies that you can use to pause, to reflect, and to mindfully and intentionally shape and design the second half of your year. Now, you're going to be hearing about real life transformations, my own and a client of mine. And it's just this journey of moving from feeling overwhelmed, anxious, stressed out, exhausted, to over time rediscovering the sense of passion and purpose and joy. And I'm going to walk you through some simple but really powerful exercises. We'll talk about gratitude journaling, one of my favorites, life balance wheel. We'll talk about these different strategies, exercises, techniques that can really help you to get clear on what you really want. So, my intention and my hope is that by the end of this episode, you will have the tools that you need to help you to break free from this hamster wheel that we often feel like we're on, so that you can reconnect with your amazing self and start mindfully creating a life that truly excites you. So, what do you think, my friend? Are you ready to make the second half of this year count? Let's go ahead and dive in. So, like I said, we're going to be talking today about something that I hear from so many women. And it's that constant feeling of, it's like we're just going through the motions every day, right? Like you are constantly putting out fires. You're taking care of everyone else. There's zero time left for you. I get it, my friend. It's like somewhere along the way, we lost ourselves. We lost touch with who we really are. And so this can be pretty frustrating, right? It shows up in our day to day lives in some ways that are pretty frustrating. So maybe you'll find yourself snapping at somebody you love, your kids, your partner, your friend, over little things that in the grand scheme of things, you normally wouldn't even care about, but you are drained, you're exhausted, your patience is worn thin, and you're snapping at these people that you care about just because you don't have any energy left. Your tank is empty. Or maybe you're lying awake at night. Either you can't sleep or you woke up in the middle of the night and you've got these ruminating thoughts just going and going in loops in your head. You're anxious about all these things that you feel like you should have done or should be doing or you need to do or you don't have time for, but there's just not enough hours in the day. You're exhausted, you're drained, you don't have the energy. Maybe you've even stopped making plans with your friends because it feels like one more thing that you've got to add to your already full to-do list, one more thing that you've got to add to a calendar that's already overflowing. And so I see you, my friend. Give yourself a deep breath. Let it go. Who knew adulting, excuse me, who knew adulting would be so much to juggle, right? So this isn't how we want to live. in this constant state of a roller coaster or a hamster wheel, because let's face it, living like this is just flat out exhausting. We want to feel alive again. We want to wake up excited about our day, and we want to have that sense of purpose that we used to have. But right now, maybe it feels like you are barely keeping your head above water. And I have been there too. So here's the thing, my friend. It's not your fault. Think about it. Think about it. We're constantly being told that we should be able to do it all. We should be it all. We should do more, be more. We're supposed to be the perfect moms for those who have children, successful career women, supportive partners, the perfect housekeeper. And somehow, amidst juggling all these things, we're still supposed to find time for self care. And so it is no wonder that we are feeling lost and overwhelmed. And the truth of the matter is, there's no guide for adulting, right? Nobody teaches us how to navigate adulthood. Nobody teaches us how to navigate this midlife transition stuff, right? We are all just figuring it out as we go. And so, I want you to know that this feeling, it is super common for women our age. And when I say our age, I'm in my mid 40s, well, almost mid 40s. I'm 43. I'll be 44 next week. But most of the women that I work with are in that midlife range. And so, most importantly, to recognize that doesn't have to be this way. We can find our way back to ourselves. It's about learning the power of the pause, taking an intentional pause, tuning in, tuning inward, and tuning in to what we really want, and learning to trust ourselves again. And I get it, my friend. It might seem impossible. With everything you've got going on, how can you pause? How can you slow down? But I promise you it's not. We have got this, and I'm here to help you to reconnect. I see the amazing woman that you are, but I want you to reconnect with her. So here's the thing. When you start to reconnect with yourself, and when you start to kind of see this hamster wheel for what it is, to step outside, like you're looking down, so imagine that you're like a hawk or a bird flying through the sky, and you can see your life from this 360-degree view, right? So you're looking from the top down. It can be like a fog lifting, right? Suddenly you are not just going through the motions anymore. You can wake up again with a sense of purpose, knowing that what you want is in front of you, knowing that what you want is within reach, knowing that you are clear on your goals and your priorities, and you've got the energy to go after it. Those little moments of joy that you used to overlook because you were so overwhelmed and tired, you missed them, they become the highlight of your day. So I'm going to invite you to imagine what it would feel like to be able to set boundaries, to say no without feeling guilty. So you're saying no to things that don't align with your values, your goals, your priorities, so that you can say a hell yes to the things that light you up. Your relationships improve, your relationship with yourself and others, because you are showing up exactly who you are. You've got more energy for the people and the activities and the things, the hobbies, the whatever it is that lights you up, whatever it is that truly matters to you. When we say no to those things that drain us, we can create space intentionally for the things that light us up. So let me tell you a little story about a client of mine, and I'm going to call her Sarah for today's intents and purposes. Sarah was working for a small startup. She was wearing multiple hats, and she was juggling so many responsibilities. So she was kind of like a be all, do all. She was the marketing lead, the customer service rep, the project manager. I'm sure even more than that, all rolled into one. So she loved her job, but it was affecting her health. It was affecting her stress. It was affecting her daily life. And it was only getting worse because of all the stress from this job, right? Every day felt like a battle, and she was constantly on edge. She always felt overwhelmed. She felt like there was too much to do. She couldn't do it all. And so she felt like she was failing everything. And so as we started working together, she realized how disconnected she had become. She had been putting all of these other priorities ahead of her own needs and values for so long that she lost touch with who she was. She lost touch with her own needs and values. And so eventually, over time, she made a very mindful decision that worked for her to take a bold step to leave that position behind. And she found a role that better aligned with her strengths and allowed for more focus. Now, I'm going to tell you, my friend, the change wasn't instant at all. But within a few months, the difference was night and day. Her health improved, her symptoms became less frequent, and she found ways to manage her stress and her anxiety that actually worked for her because she wasn't stuck in that feeling of being overwhelmed day in and day out. For the first time in years, she felt like she could breathe, like she wasn't just surviving anymore. She was actually enjoying her life. Her quality of life improved so much. I was so happy to see that she found that her passion for art, for crafts, for creativity, she made time for it again. She started dedicating time to it every single week. And she found that because she wasn't giving so much time, energy, and attention to the super, super stressful job, she had time to connect with her friends after work again. She didn't collapse on the couch after a long day. And so she was able to reconnect with others in a really meaningful way. So, we start this process of looking at our lives from the outside in, this reflection practice, and we become aware. We develop a greater sense of self awareness, right? What our values are, what our core values are, what our priorities are, what is really truly meaningful to us, what we truly want from our lives. And no, our life doesn't suddenly become perfect. Perfection's overrated anyway. Perfection would be boring, but we're looking for progress, not perfection. And so this process, this practice, it does give us the tools and the clarity to build up this resilience, to build up this sense of inner connection, inner knowing, inner strength, so that we know that we have the tools, the clarity, the resilience to handle whatever comes our way. So that we're not just reacting to life, we are actively shaping and designing it mindfully. We have the mindful awareness and inner fortitude to set healthy boundaries, to say no to the things that don't feel aligned and inspired anymore, to say yes to the things that light us up, so that we have the time and the energy for the things that truly matter to us. Now, again, that could be creative hobbies, it could be deepening relationships, or maybe it's just enjoying a moment of peace. And that feeling, my friend, it is pretty amazing. Now, you might be wondering, how can we break free from this cycle? And so that is one of the ways that this mid-year mindfulness practice, this mid-year check-in can come into play, right? It gives you a chance to pause, to reflect, and to reconnect with yourself. So this is something that I started doing, gosh, it's been at least a few years now, and it has been a game changer for me. So this is a practice I try to do at least quarterly and at least twice a year. I like to take some time to sit down. You can sit down with a candle, with some essential oils, a cup of tea, your journal, whatever you want. But what I like to do anyway, I start by sitting in meditation. I like to just take it some time to turn inward, to tune into myself, and then move on to reflect on what I'm grateful for. What went well for me? What can I celebrate? Start with the good, right? And then I move on to think about the challenges or the struggles that I faced and maybe what isn't going so well for me. I think about what my priorities are for the next few months, what's important to me, what I want to carry with me from the past few months into the next stage or season of my life, but also what I maybe have overgrown or don't want to spend my time and energy on anymore, right? And so once I feel grounded, once I've had some time to reflect, that's when I like to come to this life balance wheel. And so this is, like I said, one of my favorite tools because it gives you a snapshot of how you evaluate your life as it is in this moment in time right now. So if you think about it, if you drew a circle on a sheet of paper and then think about it like a pie, you're going to make some evenly sliced pie slices through it. So you can draw a line down the middle, a line down the side, and then as many diagonal lines as you like. And then label each of those slices of the pie with a different area of your life. So it can be like career, finances, relationships, health and fitness, personal development, whatever is important to you. Go ahead and give each of those pie slices a label. And then the middle of the circle is a 0, and the outer edge of the circle is a 10. And you want to trust your gut. Don't spend too much time thinking about it, but label or rate each of those areas in your life with how you feel like, how aligned they feel for you, how supportive they feel for you, how well do you feel like you're doing in that area of your life. So, for example, if you are doing really, really great financially, but you are struggling in a relationship area, you could rank that financial area as really high, but maybe the relationship area is a bit lower. So, anyway, 0 is the worst. It's right in the middle of the circle and it's the worst. It couldn't get any worse than that. Hopefully, you don't have any zeros in your circle, but if you do, just approach it with grace and acceptance and without judgment. The 10 is the outer edge of the circle, and that means there's no way this could possibly be any better. It is magical. It is amazing. I've got this down. Most of us fall somewhere between the 0 and the 10 in most of the areas in our life. And so what you do is you go through and you put a dot, or you just color half part way to what you think is that number. And again, trust your gut. Don't spend too much time on it. Just mark it. So you give each of these areas a ranking, and then you can connect the dots, right? Connect the dots. And then you'll see those areas in your life that are closer towards the outer edge of the circle. Those areas in your life you're already doing pretty well in. So keep doing what you're doing. But the areas that are closer in towards the center of the circle, if you could bump one or two of those out a little bit, think about what a positive impact that could have in your life, right? That could be really powerful. So it gives you a snapshot to see, oh my gosh, like, look, if I focus on this one area for the next 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, whatever, I could really make it a whole lot better. And so it helps you to prioritize, right? In a life, in a world where we are being pulled in a million different directions at one time, it helps you to set your goals. It helps you to prioritize so you have a clear snapshot of how you are ranking your life right now. At least that's what I like to do. And so, again, like I said, the areas that I rank high, usually those are the areas where I have been either focusing my time and attention intentionally for a while, or they're areas where I've already established a really good flow that works really well for where I'm at in my life right now. Those areas that I ranked lower, though, right? Like I said, that's where the magic happens. I can pick one or two of those areas to focus on over the next month, over the next quarter, whatever makes the most sense. And then for each of those categories, let's say it's finances, I can think about one or two or three different action steps that I can take. So, for example, let's say that I'm focusing on finances. Well, I say, okay, I'm going to do a money audit and I'm going to see where my money's going. And I'm going to identify and cancel subscriptions, expenses, whatever that I don't need. And what if I create a budget if I don't have one yet? Or maybe I'm a little more mindful when I'm shopping if what I'm buying satisfies a want or a need, if I truly need it right now, or if it's a purchase that could wait. And so if I take small, consistent actions around this goal, by the time I do this practice again, and I like to do it, I said, like every quarter, but in this case, we're talking about a mid-year check-in. So you could do it twice a year. But it's really neat to see how these rankings shift over time. And hopefully the next time that I do this activity, this area in my life would bump out a little bit further. And so it's really neat to see how my wheel has shifted over time because, like I said, I've been doing this for years now. And I like to keep these in a file so that I can go back over time and I can look at them and see, holy moly, like at the very beginning, all of my numbers were scrunched in closer towards the center. And then over time, I started having one or two that would shoot out towards the edges. And now most of mine are fairly close to the outside edge. You know, they bump in and out. It's a natural ebb and flow. But, you know, that's life, right? one quarter, I might rank my finances higher. And then I might have an unexpected expense and it sets me back a bit. And the next quarter, I need to focus on my finances again. Or maybe one quarter, I focus more on my friends and my family. And I find that I'm neglecting my own personal development, right? My own hobbies. So you'll see that it's an ebb and a flow, but it's pretty cool to see how it shifts and ebbs and flows over time when we are mindful and intentional about where we are focusing our time, energy, efforts, and attention. So that was a lot. Let's explore now. Let's dive in to some practical ways that you can reconnect with yourself and really help you to regain that sense of purpose through this process of a mid-year check-in. So let's talk about a few of my favorite practices, and you can pick and choose what works for you. Maybe you'll pick one or two or try them all, whatever you want. So first up, I want to talk to you a little bit about gratitude journaling. And so this is a really fun practice, I think, because it gives you an opportunity to sit down and reflect on, list out all of your wins and your accomplishments from the first half of the year. So, what I personally like to do is actually pull out my calendar, whether you're using a digital calendar or a paper calendar or a combination of the two. Take a moment to look back through the year and write down every single accomplishment and win. I mean, all of them, even the small stuff like I finally organized that junk drawer, right? Or I had a really good hair day. And I'm not going to lie, it might feel silly at first, but trust me, this helps you to shift your focus to the positive, and it can really help you to build some serious momentum. All right, next up, try that life balance wheel like I talked to you about. So, like I said, you can picture a wheel with spokes for different areas of your life. I prefer to think of it as a pie with different slices. But whatever resonates with you, put down whatever categories of your life you want to reflect on, whatever's important to you right now: health, career, relationships, personal growth, you name it. And again, you just rate your satisfaction in each of those areas on a scale of 0 to 10. And this is going to give you a visual snapshot of this moment in time of where you are already excelling and where you might want to put in a little extra time, energy, effort, and attention. So it's like a map or a compass of your life showing you exactly where you are starting from and where you want to go. Now, this is another one of my favorites. So write a letter to yourself. So imagine. And you can even, if you're not driving and it's safe to do so, you could even close your eyes right now and see yourself on December 31st, New Year's Eve of this year. What have you accomplished? Who have you become? Visualize that for a moment. What do you hope to accomplish? Who do you want to become by the end of this year? Pour your heart out to your future self. Write this letter to your future self. This isn't just dreaming, my friend. It is creating a personal accountability tool that can help you to stay on track. So if you'd like to, if your eyes are closed, you can bring them back open if you'd like to. And the last thing that I want to talk to you about is creating a ritual around setting intentions. So an intention setting ritual. And this could be something as simple as lighting a candle. Maybe you'll take a walk in nature. Maybe you'll sit in your favorite spot with a cup of tea. You might have your journal with you. Maybe you'll just reflect. But the key is to make it something that's meaningful for you. Use this time to mindfully set your intentions for the rest of the year. What do you want to create? How do you want to feel? So, we talked about a few different things. We talked about gratitude journaling. We talked about the life balance wheel, the writing a letter to your future self, visualizing your future self, and this intention setting ritual. So, those are all simple but powerful practices. They're not about adding more to your to-do list. They are about reconnecting with yourself, with what truly matters to you, getting clear on what you want, and charting a course to get you from where you are now to where you want to be. I'm not even joking, my friend. It is amazing how powerful even a small pause can be in helping you to reshape your entire life. Now, one thing I get a lot, one thing you may be wondering, how on earth am I going to find the time for a mid-year check-in? And how can it really help me to reconnect with myself and reconnect with my purpose again? And so I'm going to tell you from my own experience that this is way more powerful than you might think. And it is worth offering yourself a few minutes to do this activity. So, first up, I want to talk about self reflection, self awareness, self discovery. Here's the thing something I found in my own life, and maybe you've experienced it yourself. When we are constantly in motion, constantly in that go, go, go energy. So, like we talked about earlier, it's like we're always putting out fires, we're taking care of everyone else, and we lose touch with our own needs, our own wants, our own desires. A mid-year check-in, like what we talked about, it's almost like it gives you permission to pause, to turn your attention inward. I like to think of it like pressing that reset button on your inner compass, right? So whatever practices resonate with you, you might try something like gratitude journaling, or like I said, the life balance wheel. You start to see patterns though. And so you might realize that you have been neglecting an area of your life that used to bring you so much joy, or that you have been pouring energy into something that doesn't serve you anymore. So it's just a really, really powerful tool for self awareness and self discovery. And then setting intentions, it's just so powerful. It's not about creating a rigid plan, it's not about adding more to your to do list. I personally, I like having just enough structure to create freedom, just enough structure to create flexibility, just enough structure to give me direction without feeling confining or limiting or overwhelming. So it's not about making a rigid plan, but it's about getting clear on what you want. What do you truly want? This is your one life. This is my one life. Does it feel the way you want it to feel? Does it look the way you want it to look? And if not, why? It's about getting clear on what you truly want and how you want to feel. So when you write that letter to your future self, when you create that intention setting ritual, you're really feeling, you're imagining, you are reimagining and reinventing your life. You are giving yourself permission to want things, to dream again. And let me tell you, for many of us, in midlife and beyond, that alone can be revolutionary. And so here's the real game changer, my friends. Taking action, taking actionable steps. So the mid-year check-in, it's not just about reflection, it's about creating change. So maybe you realize that you need more creativity in your life. So you commit to trying a new art class or going to paint night with your friends. Or maybe you realize that your health has been on the back burner. So you start a daily walking practice. Nothing here has to be a huge life altering shift or change or transformation. I'm telling you, the power of small, consistent steps can lead to massive shifts over time. In fact, I read something the other day. I think it was from Full Focus journal company, but I'm not for sure. But they were saying how success, anybody can be successful. The problem is most of us take 20 steps in many scattered directions instead of 20 steps in the same direction. And so imagine if you gave yourself 1 month or a quarter or half a year or a year to mindfully pursue your core desires, your passions, your purpose. Imagine how far you could go. Small, consistent steps, progress, not perfection, leads to massive shifts and transformation over time. And so, again, like I said, you can pick and choose whichever of these practices, tools, techniques, strategies work for you. You might combine self reflection with intention setting and actionable steps. Maybe you prefer the meditation and the life balance wheel. Whatever you choose, however you choose to make this practice your own, I encourage you to put it on your calendar quarterly, twice a year, even monthly if you feel so called, but at least twice a year. Schedule this mid-year check-in with yourself. It is such a powerful tool for reconnecting with your dreams, your values, your authentic self. It helps you to cut through the noise of daily life and to remember who you are at your core. And you know what, my friend? When you are aligned with your true self, I like to call it wildly aligned. There's that sense of freedom within. When you are wildly aligned with that sense of purpose that you've been missing, it starts to come back into focus. You start to feel more like yourself again, not just like somebody's mom or partner or employee, but you in all of your complex, messy, beautiful, amazing glory. You become yourself again. You recognize yourself again. So let's recap. We've talked about a lot today. We talked about something that so many of us women deal with, and it's that feeling of being lost in our own lives. Like we're just going through the motions, you're so busy taking care of everything and everyone around you that you forget about yourself. You neglect yourself. But here's the good news. This mid-year check-in, it's one of many tools that we can use to help us get back on track. It's not complicated, I promise. You can invest as much or as little time, energy, and attention into this practice as you want, but even just a few moments can really, really be powerful to help you get back on track. Now, we talked about some simple things you can try, like jotting down the good things in your life, feeling gratitude, making sure to count the small wins, looking at different areas of your life to see where you might need a little extra TLC, visualizing and writing a letter to your future self. It sounds weird, maybe, but it works. And creating a little ritual to set your intentions. None of these are big, life-changing events, happenings. They're small steps that you can do, that I can do, that we can all do, and it can make a real difference. You have got this, my friend. You are the amazing woman you have always been. Sometimes we lose track of that. Sometimes we need a reminder. So I'm here to remind you, you are amazing. You are the same amazing woman you've always been. See it, recognize it, own it. Give yourself the power of a pause. Let yourself take a breather. Look at where you're at and start steering your life in the direction that you want it to go. Trust me, it is so worth it. Now, if you are ready to take that pause and really dive into your mid-year reflection, I've got something special for you. I would love to invite you to join me in the Zen space. That is my monthly yoga and mindfulness online membership. And this month, as a special bonus, I am sharing my personal mid-year reflection process, complete with a worksheet to guide you through it. And so it's like having me right there with you as you reconnect with your amazing self. I'm going to talk you through my own personal process, and you can go through the activity side by side with me right there. Now, for just $22 a month, you will get this and so much more. We've got several live stream yoga classes a month. We've got a growing on-demand library of yoga and mindfulness practices. So if you are interested in checking that out, check out the show notes or just head over to rachelhupp.com and join us. I would love to see you there. And whatever you choose, whatever path you choose, I really want to encourage you to intentionally and mindfully design your life so that the second half of this year truly feels aligned with who you are at your core and with what you want in your day-to-day life. Baby steps, my friend, one step at a time will get you closer. That's all we need to start that momentum to get us on the right trajectory. So again, remember, you don't have to do this alone. Sometimes having a guide and a community can make all the difference. So I'm here to support you every step of the way. And let's make this year best year yet. Thanks so much for tuning in, and I will hope to see you in the next episode.